good morning everyone. My name is Beverly Ann Banzon and I am your teacher for today. So before we start, may I ask Brittany to lead a prayer. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. And the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So good morning, everyone. Yes, very good. So how are you feeling today? Are you good? That's right, you are good. It's obvious. Okay, you there. How are you feeling today? Yes, she is fine. So now, I will check your attendance. So, where is Abilion? Akabal? Alanano? Amparado? Very good. You have a perfect attendance this morning. Very good. So I'm hoping that you maintain your attendance since attendance is very important. So now, I have a question. Do you have any idea what our topic last meeting? Yes, at the back. Do you have any idea? Alright, very good. Last meeting, we discussed about the fractions, on how to do fractions, and the teaching strategies or the strategies that we are going to use to, yes, the strategies that we are going to use to really understand the topic, which is fraction. Very good. Very good since you are listening to our discussion. So now, for now, I have here what is this class? What is this? Yes? This is a paper. What? Yes, this is a paper cabbage. So now we are going to have a game. So our game is called Cabbage Relay. So for this game, you are need to listen to the music. You need to listen to the music. Because since the music is on, you need to pass it to your seatmate. And if the music stops, the student with this cabbage will have one piece of cabbage left and answer the question. So since in our cabbage, there are two questions. So there are two lucky students to answer these questions in our cabbage. So are you ready? Very good. So now, let's begin. I will play the music and you pass it to your seatmate. Alright? Very good. I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric, baby, when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up, no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket. Yes. Yes, you may pick one piece of left. Alright, very good. For the next one, next student.
Got that good soul in my feet, feel that hot blood in my body, it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. Come on, like the way we rock it, so don't stop. Under the lights when everything goes.
Alright, Amparado, answer the question. Alright, very good. So now class, based on our activity, based on cabbage relay, what do you think our topic for today? Alright, yes, Mapula? Very good. Our topic for today is all about decimals. This is our topic for today. We are going to discuss about the decimals. So now, we focus on lesson 1, which is visualization of decimals. So in this lesson, we are going to use shaded blacks and money or coins to visualize the decimal numbers. So are you ready? Wow, very good. So now, before we start, we are going to know what is decimal is. So, can you read? So, decimals, it is one of the types of numbers which has a whole number and the fractional part separated by a decimal point. So, like for example, class, this example, 34.7. So, 34 here is our, what do you call this? Yes, 34 is our whole number. And 7 here is our fractional part. And this one, this is our decimal point. This is an example of decimal number. It has a whole number and a fractional part with a decimal point. So, did you understand? Alright, very good. So now, your teacher will use this decimal to visualize what is this. Okay? So we are going to use the decimal 0.5. We are going to use that. So 0 here is our whole number and it has a point, and 5 here is our fractional part. Alright. As you can see in our example, it is converted to fraction. Why is it converted to fraction? So class, remember that it is converted to fraction so that we can easily identify or visualize the given decimal. So we need to convert that. So now I have here a steps on how to convert the decimal numbers to fraction. So, step 1. The step 1 is write down the given decimal number and divide it by 1. So, in our 0.5, we divide the decimal number into 1. So, in step 2, we multiply both top and bottom by the number of digits after the decimal. So class, in step 2, we multiply the top and bottom. As you can see here, it is multiplied na. Alright. So in step 3, we simplify the fraction using greatest common factor. So class, in our example, based on our discussion, based on our example, what can you say about 5/10? Is it simplified? Plus, when we say simplified, it is being reduced to lowest term. So, 5/10, is it simplified? No. Since if we simplify this fraction, it will have a answer of 1.5. So, but in this example, we just need to have a 5/10. So 5/10 is our given fraction for today that is being converted from its decimal form. Alright? Are we clear? Okay, now. Okay, so to visualize the 0.5 or 5/10, I have here a shaded blocks. So as you can see, there are 10 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 blocks. And class, in this part, it was shaded. So how many shaded blocks here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So our shaded blocks here is 5. And our blocks, all in all, is 10. So class, the shaded block serves as our numerator here. And the denominator is the all in all blocks. This one. So we visualizes the given decimal or fractions through this. Since we have in a guide that we can use to really visualize and understand the fraction given. So as you can see, 5 shaded blocks with 10 blocks. So we have here. So this shaded blocks is equals to 5/10. So do you understand? Did you understand what I'm saying? All right, very good. So I have also here an example for you to really understand the visualization of decimal. So, what coin is this, class? What coin is this? Yes, Amaro? It is 25 centavo coin. So I have here a 25 centavo coin. So now, what if I have 2 centavo coins here? If we add these two, what is the total of it? Yes, Imbo, do you have any idea? If we add these 2 centavo coin, 25 centavo coin, what is the total? All right, we have a 50 centavo coin. Very good. If we add these two, 25 centavo coin plus 25 centavo coin is equals to 50 centavo coins. Very good. So, did you understand? Did you understand? Did you understand, class? Alright, very good. So, as you can see, to simply visualize the fraction, we need to use the shaded blocks. And if we are going to visualize the decimal, the easiest strategy that we're going to use is to use the coin, the money, or the money. Okay, are we clear? Alright, very good. So now, I have also here another example, which is 1 and 3/10. So as you can see, 1 and 3/10 is a fraction. And we converted the fraction into decimal, which is 1.3. So class, I have here steps on how to convert the fraction. So as you can see, class, 1 and 3/10 is mixed fraction. So when you say mixed fraction, it has a whole number here and the fractional part. This one, this is a mixed fraction. So I have here steps on how to convert the mixed fraction to a decimal point. So first, we are going to convert the mixed number to an improper fraction. So to mix the mixed number to an improper fraction, we will multiply the whole number with the denominator. Alright, are we clear? Yes, we multiply the whole number. So what is the whole number, class? In the example. Yes, 1. So we need to multiply the 1 to our denominator. So 1 times 10. Yes, very good. It is 10. So now, the step 2, the product is added to the numerator. So, the answer of 1 times 10, since it's 10 based on the Kenya. So, 1 times 10 is 10. So, in step 2, the answer of the whole number and the denominator, as we multiplied it, we need to add the numerator in here, the given numerator. Like 1 times 10 equals 10. And 10 plus 3 is 13. So, we have 13. So, in step 3, the sum will be the new numerator and the denominator will remain the same. So, class, since the answer of our given mixed number, as we multiply the whole number with the denominator and the sum of the whole number and the denominator is being added to the given numerator. Since the answer is 13, so we need to have an improper fraction. Yes, we need to have an improper fraction. So our improper fraction in this given number, mixed number, is 13. 13? Yes, 13 over 10. That is our improper fraction for this 1 and 3/10. Alright, in step 4, since we have an improper fraction na, we need to convert it to decimal. So by converting it to decimal, we divided the numerator by the denominator. So we divide the 13 divided by 10. Since 13 is our numerator and 10 is our denominator, so we divide those two. And that is why we have a 1.3. Yes, as you can see, we divided the numerator and the denominator. That is why we have a decimal number. So as you can see in our decimal number, 1.3, 1 here is our whole number part. And this one here, after the decimal point, is our fractional part. So are we clear? Very good. So now, as we visualizes the given mixed fraction, we need to have a shaded blocks again. So as you can see in our shaded blocks, we have these two have 10 blocks each. So as you can see in this part, we shaded the 10 blocks. So we are considering this one here, the shaded blocks here, is considered as 1. So this is a whole number. And this one here, we have a 10 blocks and 3 shaded blocks. And the other side have no shaded area, have no shaded. Yes. As you can see, we visualizes the 1 and 3/10 to these shaded blocks. 1 and 3/10. Why? Why is it this one? Yes? Alright, very good. Since you already know what is this, what is the uses, and what is the... Yes, very good. We know what or how to... Yes, we know how to convert mixed number or mixed fraction to decimal number and decimal numbers to fraction. Very good. So let us clap our hands for a very good performance. Clap our hands. Alright. Now, let's move on to decimals. Lesson 2. Changing decimals to fractions and vice versa. So, in this time, we are going to introduce what decimal is. So in this part of lesson, the decimals here are written in fractions the way they are read. Like for examples here. For the decimal, we have 0.2. So if we converted it into fractions, it can be read as 2/10. Okay, class? Read 2/10. Very good. So as you can see, 2/10 is being simplified or it is reduced to lowest term. So the lowest term of 2/10 is 1/5. Are we clear, class? Very good. So now we also have here an example 0.75. 0.75, as we convert it to fraction, it will have, or it can be read as 75 hundredths. Again, 75 hundredths. Very good. Just like other examples here, the decimal here is converted into fractions and it can be read the way they are read. It can be written the way they are read. So are we clear, class? Do you have any questions? Alright, very good. So now, class, I have here an example 0.2 decimals. So as you can see, class, it is converted to, what do you call this? Yes, it is converted to fraction. So our decimal number is converted into fractions, and we, yes, Amparado, very good. We simplified it or reduced to lowest term. So class, remember, can you read? To reduce a fraction to its lowest terms, we need to divide the numerator and the denominator by the greatest common factor. So when we say class, the greatest common factor, it is the largest number that divides evenly into each number in a given set of numbers. So class, based on what you've observed or what you see in this example, we converted the decimal into fractions. So as we convert the decimal into fraction, we divide the numerator and the denominator. So as we divide the numerator and the denominator, we also looking for its GCF or greatest common factor. So like for example class, in here, in 2/10, our greatest common factor is 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. So that's why we have numerator here, 1. Then 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that is why we have the denominator here, 5. Because when we say greatest common factor, it is the largest number that divides evenly. So the number that divides the numerator 2 and the denominator 10, which is 2. That's why we have this answer 1/5. So are we clear? Do you have any questions? People at the back. Okay, no questions. So now, we are going to move on to the change fraction to decimal. So as we change the fraction to decimal, we should remember that we are just going to simply divide the numerator by the denominator. So as we divide the numerator to the denominator, we can find its decimal. So like for example class here, I have here an example. 4/5 and 7/100. So as we divide the 4/5, the answer will be 0.8. So 0.8 here is our decimal number, the decimal number of 4/5, our given fractions. And so in our 700s, we divided the 7 and 100. That's why we come up with an answer which is 0.07, our decimal numbers. So in our decimal numbers, what factors that presents in our decimal numbers? Yes, it is the whole number part and the fractional part between the, what did you call this? Yes? No, I? Very good. The decimal point. Very good. So now class, I have here an activity for you to be, yes, I have here an activity for you to cooperate with your classmates. Okay, so this activity is what we call, or game, this is a game. So this game is what we call finding my partner. Alright. So class, as you find your partner, but first I will read the instructions and just please listen carefully so that you are being guided for this activity. So this game needs all pupils are given a piece of paper written on the paper are decimals for the boys and fractions for the girls. So at the teacher's go signal, all go around to look for the equivalent fraction or decimal he or she was. So, and if they had finished looking for their partner, the students will explain the choice of the fraction or decimal as their equivalent. So, students who correctly identify the equivalent and properly explain it will receive the credit that they are deserved. So, class, I will give you the paper with fractions and decimal points. So these blue ones is for the boys and this pink is for the girls. But since in our class we have not enough boys and lots of girls, I just want to divide this group is the group 1, the decimals, and this group is the group 2, the fractions. Okay, I need you to find your partner according to this one. Okay, so you need to find your partner as I'm having I will um, sign a go signal. So that's the time that you will look for your partner. So after you look for your partner, you need to explain if why that decimal or fractions is your partner. So you need to um, really explain is the um, what is the correct equivalent, or is it the correct equivalent that you choose it. Okay, are we clear? All right, very good. Okay, so now let's begin. All right, very good. So all of you have a partners. So I want you to explain I want you to explain in here why you've come up with that certain partners. All right, are we clear? All right, very good. So now all of you have presented their partners or their equivalent decimal and fractions. So therefore, I conclude that you are all listening to my discussion. So let us clap our hands for the cooperation and a very good performance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Very good.
Alright, since we've already discussed the lesson 1 and 2, which are visualization of decimals and changing of decimals to fraction and vice versa. So let's proceed to lesson 3, which is the place value and the value of decimals. So I have here a place value chart. Have you ever heard the term place value? Very good. When we say place value, it is the value of the location of a digit in a number. The place values are determined by how many places the digit lies to the right or to the left of the decimal point. While the value class is the product of that digit and its place value. And we will discuss that further later on. Okay, so let's go back to our place value chart. As you can see, the hundreds, tens, ones, tens, hundreds are the place value. And if you're wondering what are these numbers are for, it is the place value in numeral form. And it is written as 100, 10, 1, 0.1 or 1 tenths, 0.01 or 1 hundreds. As you know, tens place value written as 0.1 or 1/10 in numeral form, it is because since 1/10 is equal to 0.1. That's why the tens place value is written as in this numeral form as well as in hundreds. So before we discuss further, let's identify first what is decimal number. So it is a number that has a decimal point followed by a digit that show a value smaller than 1, like 746.97. So the period here is what we call decimal point. And the number to the right of the decimal point is what we called decimal number. And the number to the left of the decimal point is whole numbers. Do you understand, class? Very good. If we write the number 7 in hundreds and in hundreds, we will have something like the one below. Now, we will assign digits in these place values to have a complete picture of the decimal numbers and values and the place values of each digit. Let us now give the place value and value in the number 746.97. So I have here another chart in order for us to identify the place value in numeral and the value of digit 7, 4, 6, 9, and 7. So, the place value in numeral of digit 7 is 100. Now, if we multiply the digit by its place value, we will have the answer 700. While in digit 4, its place value in numeral is 10. Now, if we multiply the digit 4 by its place value in numeral, which is 10, we will have the answer 40. Lastly, the place value in numeral of the digit 6 is 1. If we multiply the digit 6 by its place value in numeral, which is 1, we will have the answer 6. Now, it's time for you to identify what is the place value in numeral and value of the remaining digits, which are the 9 and 7. So what is the place value in numeral of the digit 9? Very good. It is 0.1. Now, if we multiply the digit 9 by its place value in numeral, what will be the answer? Very good. The answer will be 0.9. Now, what is the place value in numeral in the digit 7? Very good. It is 0.01. Now, if we multiply the digit 7 by its place value in numeral, we will have the answer. Very good. 0.07. Alright. In this chart, class, the value of the digit 7 in hundreds place is 700, while in that hundreds place is 0.07. The chart clearly shows that the place value of a digit in a number is always 10 times as large as the immediate right number. Therefore, the value of digit 7 in hundreds place is 10 times large as the one in that hundreds place. Did you get it, class? Very good. Let's check if you really understand of what I have just discussed earlier. Now, I have here 624.35. Now, my question is, what would be the place value in the digit 2? Very good. The place value in digit 2 is tens. Now, if we multiply the digit 2 by its place value, which is tens, what would be the answer? Very good. The answer will be 20. And that 20 is the value of the digit 2. Very good. If we continue the place value chart through 10,000s, it will look like this. Let us place 3, 1, 2, 0, and 5. Read as 3 and 1,000, 205 10,000s. Okay, so I have here another chart that shows the place value in numeral and value of each digit in numerical. I want you to identify the value of digit 0 and 5. So since the place value of digit 0 in numeral is 0.001, what will be the value if we multiply the digit 0 by its place value? Very good. The answer will be 0. Now, in digit 5, if we multiply it by its place value in numeral, which is the 0.001, what will be the answer? Very good. The answer will be 0.0005. Very good. Now, it's easier for us to determine the place value and value of each digit. Okay, class, do you have any clarification? Alright, let's see if you really understand of what we have just discussed for today. Now, I have here 951.4. I have a question. What is the place value and value of the digit 4? Very good. The place value of digit 4 is tens. Now, if we multiply the digit by its place value, the answer will be 0.4. Now, 0.4 is our value for digit 4. That's all for our discussion for today, which is the place value and value of decimals. Thank you for your listening, and I hope you learned something.
Good day, everyone. I am Nicole Andrea E. Navarro, and since we are done discussing about the lesson 3, place value and value of decimals, now let's move on to lesson 4, rounding decimals. So rounding decimals is much like rounding a whole number. There are steps that needs to be followed in order to easily understand the steps or process in rounding decimals. So First is to find the place value needed to be rounded and look at the digit on the right. Remember class that if it is 5 or greater than 5, round up. If it is less than, otherwise, if it is less than 5, round down. And now, let's do some examples step by step. Okay. So the given here is round 9.4738 to the nearest thousand. So step 1. Find the decimal you need to round to. In order to easily find the decimal that we need to round, we must make first a table and label it. So we have here the table. We have put here the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and 10,000s. So the ones is 9, tens for 4, hundreds for 7, thousands for 3, and 10,000s for 8. Since we have here a table, we easily find the place that we are rounding to. So the thousands here is 3. Step 2, determine the digit to the right place you are rounding to. So let's go back to this table. So what is the right place of these thousands or the 3? Very good. So the right digit of 3 is 8. Now let's go to step 3. If the digit to the right of the place you are rounding to is less than 5, round down. That is, copy all digits from the left up to the digit you are rounding to. However, if the digit to the right of the place you are rounding to is equal to or greater than 5, round up or add 1. This is what I have said earlier. To the digit in the place you are rounding to and drop all the digits to its right. So let's take a look with this table. Since this is the nearest thousands, let's look for the right. Is 8 greater than 5? Yes, 8 is greater than 5. Therefore, we need to add 1 in 3, and all the digits here in the left side will still remain. So therefore, our answer is 9.474. And now let's have another example. So we have here the given round 0.749 to the nearest 10. So in order to easily find it, what we have done from the previous example is the same process we will be going in this example. We have to take the step-by-step process. So we have here step 1. Find the decimal place you need to round. So before we going to find, we have to make a table first and label from ones to and so on. So we have here ones for 0, tens for 7, hundreds for 4, thousands for 9. So since that here round 0.749 to the nearest 10, therefore in this table we easily find the tens. So the tens here is 7. Step 2, determine the digit to the right of the place you are rounding to. So what is the right place? What is the right digit of the tens or 7? So the right place for tens or 7 is 4 in hundreds. Step 3, if the digit to the right of the place you are rounding to is less than 5, round down. That is, copy all digits from the left up to the digit you are rounding to. However, if the digit to the right of the place you are rounding to is equal to or greater than 5, round up or add 1 to the digit in the place you are rounding to and drop all the digits to its right. So here we have another table. So if the digit to the right place you are rounding to is less than 5, so what we're going to do is let's take a look with the right digit of the of the number that we are going to round. Since the right place of 7 is 4 less than 5 or not? Yes, 4 is less than 5. Therefore, the digits from the left side will still remain, but the digits of the right place of the tens is being erased. Therefore, the answer for this example is, thus our answer is 0.7. Is that clear? Very good. Since we are done discussing about the examples or steps on how we are going to round decimals, I have here one last example, a problems example. So here is it. So the problem is a medicine dropper holds 0.293 ml liquid. What is the amount rounded to the nearest hundred? So, as what I have said, to have an easily finding the place value of the digit, we have to make a table. So, we have here the table. So, we have the ones as 0, tens for 9, hundreds for 2, and thousands for 3. So, since here we are going to find the nearest hundred, therefore the hundreds is 2. So what is the right digit of hundreds? It is in thousands, which is 3. Is 3 greater than 5? Yes, 3 is less than 5. Therefore, the answer would be 0.92. Why? It's because 3 is less than 5. We are not going to add we're not going to add 1 in the digit 2. So we're just going to copy the digits from the left side and remove the digit in the right side because it is less than 5. So are we clear? Very good. So that's all for lesson 4, rounding decimals. I hope you have learned something. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dolly Jean D. Mapula. And now, since we're done with lesson 4, let's now proceed to lesson 5, comparing decimals. Now, when it comes to comparing decimals, it is just the same as comparing whole numbers. This is done from left to right, meaning it is done from the largest place value to the lowest place value. But before that, here is a question every student must first overcome when it comes to comparing decimals. So, is 0.1 less than, greater than, or equal to 0.01? Well, the answer for that question is 0.1 is greater than 0.01. Okay, but how are we gonna prove it to our students that 0.1 is indeed greater than 0.01? Well, that is where visualization comes to the rescue. So if we are to convert 0.1 into fractions, we get 1/10. But if we are to convert 0.01 into fractions, we get 1/100. Now I have here 2 papers of the same sizes. In the first paper, I will divide it into 10 equal parts, and it will look something like this. For the second paper, I will divide it into 100 equal parts, and it will look something like this. Now 1/10 means 1 part is shaded out of 10, so let us shade 1 part. Something like that. And 100th means 1 part is shaded out of 100, so it will look like this. Okay, now which part is bigger? Is it the one from 1/10 or the one from 1/100? Of course, this one. So that proves that 0.1 is indeed greater than 0.01. In intermediate grades, comparing decimals is a lot more complex. Now here is a word problem. Let's read all together. During the West Visayas State University Himamaylan City Campus Sports Festival, the sprinters in the 100-meter dash have the following time. Josia Bonsico 12.2 seconds, Ralph Barreto 11.72 seconds, Russell Banico 12.18 seconds, Ivan Taneta 9.98 seconds, James Enesio 10.05 seconds, Jairil Brava 11.8 seconds. Now the question is, who is the first placer, second placer, and the third placer? So to answer the question, we first need to align the decimal points and also align the digits of the same place value. So just like what I did in this one, you need to align them. And for the second step is that we need to add zeros. We need to extend zeros either at the beginning or at the end. Will it change the value of the number? Yes or no? No, it won't. So let me now add zeros here. 0 and 0. Okay, now we can now start comparing decimals. So let's first focus on the tens place. So as you can see here, we have numbers 1, 1, 1, we have 5 ones and only 1 0. And in this case, we have 0 as the least number. So that makes Ivan Panetta the first placer. So just a reminder that when it comes to speed, the lesser the number, the faster the sprinter. So that is why Ivan Taneta is the first placer. Since all the remaining numbers are 1, we can no longer compare them. So we proceed to the ones place. So we have here, so this one is, we can now disregard this, so we will not be confused. Okay. So since we have here 2, 1, 2, 0, 1, and we have the least number here 0, so that makes James Enesio the second placer. And now we can disregard this. And since we have here 2 2s and 2 1s, which one is smaller? 1 or 2? It's 1, right? So we will proceed to 1. So we have here the 11.75 and 11.80. So since in the ones place, we have the same values. Since in the ones place, we have the same digits, so we can't compare them. So we will proceed at the tens place. So we have here 7 and 8. And since 7 is lesser than 8, so that makes Ralph Barreto the third placer and Jairil Brava the fourth placer. Disregard this one and this. To complete the table, 12.20 is greater than 12.18, so that makes Russell Banico the fifth placer and Josia Bonico the sixth placer. So to answer the question here, who is the first placer? So Ivan Taneta is the first placer. Our second placer is James Enesio, and our third placer is Ralph Barreto. For the teaching strategy, let me introduce to you the Decimal War. Students play a version of the classic card game War using decimal cards instead of regular playing cards. In each round, the person with the largest decimal number captures the other card or cards. For this activity, you will be needing cards and this template. There should be 2 players in a game. To play the game, each player gets 3 cards. Remaining cards are placed face down in the middle of the table. After each player looks at their cards and determines the greatest 3-digit number, each player has the option to stick, swap, or steal. Stick, they have the option to keep their cards. Swap, they have the option to remove one card from their hand and take a new card from the pile of cards.
Still, they have the option to trade a card from their hand for a card from any other player's hand without looking at what they are picking. And lastly, players show their cards and the person with the largest decimal number wins.
Since we're done with lesson 5, let's now proceed to lesson 6, addition and subtraction of decimals. Now when it comes to adding and subtracting decimals, it's just the same in adding and subtracting whole numbers. The only difference is that we need to arrange the numbers in columns based on the decimal points. Okay, so we have here a word problem. Let's read all together.
Mrs. Rivera bought the following items from a grocery store: a kilo of sugar at 56 pesos and 50 centavos, a kilogram of rice at 48 pesos, a pack of Milo at 96 pesos and 75 centavos, and a pack of matchsticks at 6 pesos. How much change would she get from her 1,000 pesos?
So what is the first step to answer this question? So that's right, we need to sum up first the amount of the items that she bought. So we need to add. So just like what we did in this one. In adding decimals, we need to arrange the numbers in columns based on the decimal points so that we will be adding digits of the same place value. So the first thing that we need to do is that we need to arrange the decimals of the numbers being added in a column so that we'll be adding digits of the same place value. So just like this one. So we really need to align all these decimal points. Right? You can see it, right? So and the next step is that we need to extend. Yes, we could extend zeros at the beginning or at the end. And take note that adding zeros won't change its value. So then let me add zeros. And the third step is we need to write the decimal point directly below the decimal points lined up above. So since the decimal points are lined up here, so we put decimal point in here. And now we can now add decimals just like how we do it when we add whole numbers. So we need to first start at the farthest right. Okay, so we have here 5. 5 plus 7 is 12, so we have 2 carry 1. Now we have the answer, 253 pesos and 25 centavos. So the total amount of Mrs. Rivera's items that she bought is 253 pesos and 25 centavos. And we will subtract this number from her money, which is 1,000 pesos. So we write here 253 pesos and 25 centavos. So just like in subtraction, we also need to arrange the decimal points so that we will be subtracting digits of the same place value. And the next step is we could add zeros at the beginning or at the end. Again, it will change the value, and then we will put a decimal point directly below the decimal points lined up above. So we have put it here, and now we can now proceed to subtracting decimals just like how we do it when we subtract whole numbers. So we need to start from the lowest place value. So we need to start from the right to left. So the answer for 1,000 minus 253.25 is 746 pesos and 75 centavos. So to answer the question, Mrs. Rivera would get 746 pesos and 75 centavos from her 1,000 pesos. For the teaching strategy, let me introduce to you the decimal diner.
Teach students real-life scenarios where they will encounter decimals using this fun diner activity. Kids will choose menu items to create problems as well as answer the word problems for some independent practice. To do the activity, you will divide the class into 6 and each student will choose a rolled piece of paper that contains the amount of money that they will have. They will add their money as a group and start ordering food.
So good morning everyone, I am Christine Desri Abio Alleluia and I am going to discuss about lesson 7 and lesson 8. Let's tackle first what is lesson 7, which is multiplication of decimals. So today we are going to discuss about how to multiply numbers with decimals with the step-by-step procedures. And as a future educator, it is very important that we should introduce first what is its part in order for the students not to be confused when you are introducing this kind of terminologies. So now we have multiplicand and multiplier, and the answer of multiplication, it is product. In my case, I use step-by-step procedures in order for the student to clearly understand how to multiply numbers, as well as easier for them to remember in multiplying numbers with decimals. So step 1, multiply the numbers. It is very important that when we multiply numbers, we should always start on the right side, which is the ones digit. So 4 times 2 is equals to 8, and 3 times 2 is equals to 6. So since we are done in multiplying the ones digit, so now let's move on to the tens digit. So 4 times 1 equals 4, so we will put it over here. And 3 times 1 is equals to 3. And after multiplying the ones digit and the tens digit, so our step 2 is to add the numbers. So we will add the numbers that we get from multiplying the ones digit and the tens digit. So let's bring down the 8, and 6 plus 4 is equals to 10, carry 1. 1 plus 3 is equals to 4. Wait, there's more. This is not the final answer, because in step 3, it is stated here that count the number of decimal and move the product's decimal place to the left. So since we only have one number that has decimal point, which is 3.4, we also have one digit before decimal point, so this will be the equivalent in finding our final answer. So we will also move once in our final answer, and our final answer will be 40.8. So now I will also give another set of example, but now both numbers, the multiplicand and multiplier, has a decimal point. So now let's find out. Again, in step 1, this is the same as what we did a while ago, that we multiply numbers from the right to left, which is from ones digit to tens digit. So 4 times 2 is equals to 8, and 3 times 2 is equals to 6. And now let's move on to the tens digit, which is the 4 times 1 is equals to 4. And again, our step 2 will be adding the numbers, that what we get in multiplying the ones digit, tens digit. So we just have to bring down the 8, and 6 plus 4 is equals to 10, carry 1, 1 plus 3 is equals to 4. Again, this is not the final answer, because in step 3, it is the same as what we did a while ago, that we just look on the numbers where there is a decimal point. So since there are two numbers that have a decimal point, so which is the 3.4 and 1.2, we just also look the how many digits before decimal point and count them, because that will be the equivalent in our movements in our decimal point in the final answer. So since we have 2 digits before decimal point, which is the 4 and the 2, so we will also move twice in finding the final answer. So our final answer will be 4.08. So as you can notice, we use both or same numbers from the one example that we have and the another example that we have, but it differ in the final answer. Why? Because it is very important that we should always be careful in the movements of our decimal point, because decimal point matters, because in our movements of decimal point, it will affect the final answer that we are getting. So if we move wrong decimal point, it will lead us in getting the wrong final answer, even if our process is correct. So now I will teach you the teaching strategies in multiplication of decimals. So since this is a virtual, so if we are in the face-to-face setting, I will let you pick a partner, because in this strategy you will work together. But now we are in the virtual, so I will just demonstrate on how to do it in order for you to apply this or introducing this to the students. So the first teaching strategy that I will introduce to you is a visual model strategy in multiplication of decimals, which is like this. So in finding the product of multiplication in decimals, we have two methods, which is the visual model and the standard algorithm. So the standard algorithm is just like what we did a while ago, that we manually multiply each numbers from the ones digit, the tens digit, and adding those numbers and moving the decimal place. So that is the standard algorithm. So now let's focus first what is the visual model. So all you have to do is to write 0.6 times 0.4 here. So in finding out that, I want you to get two colors, which is that will represent 0.4 and 0.6. So after getting a color, two colors that will represent the 0.4 and 0.6. So to represent 0.6, all you have to do is to shade 6 columns vertically, just like this one, that I shade 6 columns vertically. And represent 0.4 here in our visual model, all you have to do is to shade 4 rows horizontally. So after doing that, so after shading, all you have to do is to count the both colors that is overlapping. So we just have to count this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So that is our product of 0.6 times 0.4 is equal to 0.24. All you have to do is to copy the 0 and the point and put the 24. So now, I will also introduce to you another kind of strategy in finding the product in multiplying decimals, which is the box method. So we are finding the product of 3.77 times 2.8. So all you have to do first is to put its place value. So on the topmost, which is the 3.77, and on the side is the 2.8. We just have to count each place value. So the first one is 3. So ones, tens, hundreds. So since 3 is 100, so we just put here 300. Now let's move to 7. So 1 tens. So since this is tens, we just have to put 1 0 on it. So this will be 70. So now to another 7, which is the ones. So since it is ones, we just have to put 7 here. So now let's move on to the multiplier. So ones, tens. So 2, since 2 is tens, the place value of it is tens, we just have to put 20 on it. And for 8, it is 1, so we just put it as 8. So after that, all we have to do is to multiply it. So 300 times 20, it will give us 6,000. And 70 times 20, it will also give us 1,400. And so 7 times 20, it will also give us 140. And so since we are done in the first row, now let's move on to the second row. All we have to do is to multiply it. So 300 times 8, it will give us 2,400, and 70 times 8, it will give us 560, and 7 times 8, it will give us 56. So now all we have to do next is to add those numbers. So again, it is not the final answer because we just have to put the decimal point on it. So we just go back on the first problem, or the original number of it. It's 3.77 times 2.8. So again, we just have to look the decimal point on it. So since there are 2 digits before decimal point of 3.77, which is the 77, and 1 digit before the decimal point of 2.8, and all in all, 2 plus 1 is equals to 3. So this will give us 3 movements in getting the final answer and putting the decimal point. So we just have to count 1, 2, 3. So our final answer of 3.77 times 2.8 is equals to 10.556. Since we are done discussing about how to add, how to subtract, and how to multiply numbers with decimal points, now let's move on in division of decimal, which is the lesson 8. As a future educator, it is very important that we introduce its part, especially we are dealing with little children. So in order for them not to be confused when you are using this kind of terminologies and discussing to them. So here we have, in division, we have divisor, the dividend, and quotient, which is the answer of division. So again, in my case, I use step-by-step procedure because I know this is a way of strategy that can help students to clearly for them, or to easier for them to understand this kind of concept, and to easily for them to remember when they are taking an test. They will easily remember what are the steps on it, because there are a step-by-step on it, and this is a simplified step-by-step procedure. So step 1 in division is move the decimal point of the divisor to the right. So just like this one is what we did here. So again, in step 2, since we are moving one movement in divisor, so we will also do that in our dividend. We will move it once. So this will give us 23 and 103.5. So in step 3, so since we move once in the divisor as well as in the dividend, so in step 3 we just have to put a decimal point matching to that dividend. So just like this one we put here, this is a line. So that is step 3. We have here a tip before we divide those numbers. I have here a acronyms that will give you a hint on how to divide numbers. So the first one is D for divide, and M for multiply, and S for subtract, and B for bring down. You can also use these statements or phrases in order for you to easier for to remember what is D and SB. You can also use dirty monkeys smell bad, and dad, mom, sister, brother, and does McDonald's sell burgers? So those are the phrases or statements that can help you easier to remember on how the step-by-step procedure in dividing the numbers. This is also applicable not just in dividing with decimal points. This is also applicable in dividing any whole numbers or any numbers that you will deal in dividing. So I hope this is helpful to you, that you can also use this as a strategy on you on how to divide. So now, since we have done the first, second, and the third steps, and the acronyms and some example statements that is easier for you to remember, now let's move on in dividing the numbers with the step-by-step procedure. So how many 23 that will get a closer or exact amount of 103? So let's just put 4 here, because 5 times 23, it will give us 115. This will exceed, so this is much from 103. So we just put 4 here. So 4 times 23, it will give us 92. Then 3 minus 2 is equals to 1, and 0, let's borrow 1, because it is 0, let's borrow 1 to the 1, and this will give us 10 minus 9, it will give us 1, so 11, and then we bring down 5, so this will give us 115. So 5, let's put here 5 times 23, it will give us 115, and 115 minus 115, it will give us 0. So since we don't have any numbers left, this will be our final answer. So our final answer will be 4.5. So now I will move on to teaching strategies in division of decimals. So my teaching strategy here in division of decimal is I use story problem, because students in intermediate grades love story. I incorporate division of decimals here because this is one of the way to let them interested in doing math problems. So the story goes this way. The 3 sisters, Anna, Sophia, and Marie, received their allowance of 1 peso point 65 centavos from their mother one day. Therefore, they must divide the money by 3 in order to distribute it equally among them. Here we have 1.65, which is the allowance of 3. So, in order to divide it equally, we just have to divide by 3 the 1.65 centavos into 3. So if we are in a face-to-face settings, right now I will give you an envelope, and inside the envelope is the money, which is the 1.65 centavos. 1 peso and 65 centavos. So since this is virtually, I just have to show it the steps or the step-by-step on doing it. So since we have 1 peso and 65 centavos, we just have to divide it equally. So I will give 1.25 for Sophia, 1.25 centavos for Marie, and for Anna, and then another 25 cents for Anna, Sophia, and Marie, and then 5 centavos for Sophia, Marie, and Anna. So therefore, Anna, Sophia, and Marie each receive 55 cents as their allowance. So 25 plus 25 centavos, it will give us 50 centavos, plus 5, it will give us 55 centavos. So this will conclude that each of them will receive 55 centavos. And in order to check if our answer is correct, I have also provided here how to check your answer by using multiplication. So here we just have to put the answer that we got, which is the 0.55, and how many times we divide it. So since we divide it into 3, so we just put it 3. So we just have to multiply 5 times 3, it will give us 15, and carry 1, then 5 times 3, it will give us 15 also, and then plus 1, so since it is 0 times 3, and any numbers that will multiply to 0 equals 0, so this will give us, so we just have to bring down 16 and put the decimal point. So since we have 2 digits before decimal point, it will also be equivalent in finding or the movement of our decimal point in the final answer. So we just have to move it 1, 2. So the final answer will be 1.65, and it will give us the correct answer. Therefore, 1.65 divided by 3, it will give us 0.55. So therefore, I conclude that our answer here is correct because our checking is correct also. So that will be all. Thank you.